Good morning, everyone. Stock market technical analysis video. In this video, I'm going to cover, we're going to go through some of the gold miners just to get a kind of a touch point on those, and we'll look at the general markets as well. I don't normally do a video on Sunday. However, I did a live stream yesterday, and it was my very first live stream. I was really kind of experimenting with the live stream and with the controls, and I had some technical difficulties, so that's why I didn't really post a premiere and let you guys know I was doing the live stream, and also why I didn't make that live stream public, because there's about 10 to 15 minutes in the beginning where I'm getting a lot of echoing in the audio and having to mess with it, and it's just not really worth it's just not the quality that I want to put out on the channel. So I think I've got the kinks worked out on those live streams, so I will likely be continuing doing some of those. Now, when I say live stream, I'm not talking about sitting on a live stream Monday through Friday, watching the markets and talking about, pointing out trade ideas. I'm not at that point. I don't think I really want to be doing that. Ideally, I'll just continue with the videos, and then I will do a live stream Q&A session, possibly on the weekend or maybe during the week, but I'm going to do Q&A sessions where people can ask me about, about trade ideas or point out charts, and I'll go through the charts and really give my basic read on the charts. So that's really what the live stream is going to be about. I do trade during the day. I don't have time to just have a live stream running on my screen the entire time. So not there yet, guys. Sorry about that, but I will continue to put out trade ideas on these videos, and we will do Q&A sessions on the live stream. All right, so that is that. Let's get into the charts. Give me a thumbs up, guys, if you guys are finding value. Check out the course. If you guys haven't checked out the course, link is in the description of this video and most of my other past videos. All right, triple Qs. So on Friday, we'll just cover triple Qs and then SPY, and then we'll look at the gold charts. On Friday, triple Qs bounced off that level I was talking about 297. I was really looking anywhere from 300 down to 297. But you can see on the hourly chart, 297 had several reactions back here. So that was a clear level. You can see we held that as resistance here, and then support here and support here. So, and then also that breakdown candle back here on that last correction kind of started right in that area. So it was anywhere up from about 298 to 297. And so I had that marked out, and we fell right down to it, and that's where we bounced. Now, if you follow headlines and don't follow technical analysis, then you would think that this bounced off of the positive jobs report. And maybe that's the headline they want to strap to it. But I don't know when the jobs report came out. I doubt it came out at this very second. But the market wanted to go down and hit support. And that's when the buyers would step in. That's where the shorts were going to cover. That's the level that this thing wanted to reverse on. And again, so what I did on Friday is, as it fell down to that 297 level, I covered my short. I went long. I talked about that in the video that I put out, and rode that thing long for most of the day. I covered that long trade at the end of the day, and what I did is I reversed back short. Now, I don't know if we're going to go a little higher. That's very possible that we go a little higher, but I'm looking at kind of the longer term trend, and I think we end up trending lower. I don't think this correction is just over on that Friday reversal. So I see the next level of resistance right there at 311. You can see that's the level that we held that as support for several tags of that. We had 3 tags of that as support, and if I zoom, actually 4, because we tagged it as support there. So that's the level I think we bounced to. We could overshoot it, but I think likely that's your first level of resistance. We get through that, if it breaks through that, then it's very possible that triple Qs wants to run up and fill this gap all the way up here at 320. It's about 330 or so, right around 330. So what I would be watching for is you get through 311, and we're likely going up to 330. 330 would be a a good area to probably start to reestablish shorts. I don't think we're going to get up that far, though. One thing to note is we are downtrending. So if you make if you draw a line here. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I had to grab the tool. Then, we're pretty much making lower highs and we're making lower lows like that. So we're downtrending. So we could run up and hit the top of that trend line. That's a possibility too, up around 317. So these are all areas or levels you're going to want to watch for reactions. All right. And when I'm swing trading this, I'll game the bounces like I did here at the bottom of this 297. That was the very first tag of a pretty major support level. I showed that level there and how many reactions. So it makes sense you get a pretty sharp bounce. But I think we could bounce up to this 311, which is the first level of resistance, and then start to, continue to sell off. On the daily, looking at the daily, I don't see any bullish divergence. You can see here, just recently, we're making lower lows in the momentum there. And so there's no bullish divergence showing up telling me that this reversal was a major reversal on the daily chart. All right, so that's what I see there on the daily. Now, if you look at the hourly, let me move this one, starting to get a little bit of a bullish divergence right here on the RSI. See how we made a kind of a higher low on the hourly, although this was a lower price. So that's bullish divergence on the RSI. We don't have that on the PPO, though. You can see on the PPO just continued lower lows in the momentum indicator there. So that is not fully confirmed that we're going to just, that was a complete reversal. Yes, it was a near-term reversal, but I think it's likely we're going to hit resistance and start and continue to sell off. Where's Qs going next? If we break, so, what you could do if you wanted to short is either short into resistance or short on a break of support. That's the two things you want to, really wait for. And if we break this 297 area, if we break it next, then I would look all the way down here at about 282 or so. We've got a reaction right there at about 282. And 282, if it hits anytime soon, is also going to hit the bull market, the top of the bull market trend line, which is going all the way back to 2009. You see this price channel, this clean price channel that the Qs was in. Well, that's the trend line right there. And that's about 282 or so. So if we break that, I think we fall down to that, probably get a reaction. You can see we had several reactions on that level before. See it right here where we broke above, tagged it, broke, came back, hit it, broke up higher, came back, hit it, broke up higher. So I think when you come back down to it, you're likely at least going to get some sort of a reaction off of it. So that's the next, we'll watch that for next week. SPY. Okay, SPY. I still think SPY's heading down to this trend line down around 347. Looking at the daily, this wasn't really a reversal in the SPY. I mean, we bounced off some support and in the Qs and SPY rallied, but you can see we're still making a series. We're still downtrending, making kind of lower lows, lower highs. So I don't see any change in posture. We're still trending down in the SPY, although the SPY hasn't really had that much of a sell-off. So look for the SPY to start to sell off. There's potential that there's some rotation maybe that goes on where people buy the tech and they sell the SPY. I'm not so sure, but I think it's likely they kind of all sell off together as we make our next leg down. Looking at the hourly here on SPY, no bullish divergence on the SPY. You'll see here we made lower lows in the momentum on the PPO and lower lows in the momentum on the RSI. So there's no signal telling me that this bounce was a full reversal and we're going to go higher. All it tells me is we had a bounce in a more, in a downtrend, and we are going to continue lower. One thing on SPY, you can't say SPY has fully made a downtrend yet and started a new downtrend. We haven't broken We haven't broken below this previous low right here. So a break below that, and then you could say with confirmation that, okay, we are now downtrending in a new downtrend. We don't have that yet, so that's one thing to kind of give the bulls hope. But again, I think that Q sell-off is not finished, and I'll be looking for some more downside. So levels to watch for on SPY. You'll probably get a reaction right here about 360, 361, 362, we'll call it. And then you break below that. I think we're heading straight down to this trend line at about 350 or so. So we're going to watch for that to see if that continues. One thing to watch that might give you a cue or a tell on this SPY is the financials, XLF. You can see, just watch this trend line. This is an hourly chart here. You got this trend line right here. And I would just watch for a break of this trend line. Impulsive break of the trend line in financials. And we'll likely see SPY sell off. Qs might rally though on that. So we have to watch for that. Because if financials are selling off, maybe they're buying the bonds up and the interest rates are starting to come down. And then tech maybe will rally on that while the financials sell off. So there's a little bit of, push and pull that might happen. So we have to kind of watch for what the market wants to do there. TLT, let's look at TLT here. On the daily, once again, no bullish divergence. So remember when I was talking about how TLT had bullish divergence, and it did. It started to show up. I'm trying to remember where it started to show up. Maybe it was right about there. And I was looking at that like, okay, that we might start to break and rally, but it broke down and there's just negative momentum. See how everything's just trending down? No bullish divergence in TLT. So that tells me that these are not done selling off, likely. So, and really you see this blue line that I have marked out? This blue line is going back to the 2011 kind of trend where we held there, we held support there, held support here. We broke briefly, and when we broke, tagged it as resistance a couple times, broke back above, held support, and now we're back in that area. So, if this can't get, if we can't recover this, and we continue, maybe we chop around, consolidate a little bit more, maybe make it look like it's going to recover a couple days. But ultimately, if we can't really move beyond this and hold this as major support and continue to sell off, interest rates are going to continue to rise. That will continue to put pressure on markets. And so you'll want to watch that. That's an important thing to watch right now. Okay, let's move into gold. So gold, we've got, gold continues to break down the metal. This is just gold bullion. You can also look at GLD. Both of these are very similar in how they track. GLD is running into major support here. So you've got some major support right on 158 in the GLD. You can see we held resistance here, and then lots of reactions of support right there. So that's a nice consolidation pattern that was really proved itself that it wanted to be support, and then it broke, then you got the extreme break higher to make the all-time high. Now we've had a nice pullback, and look what we're pulling right back into is 158. So again, my trend line here, I have a little wick right there. Again, this trend line, this upward trend line, I've talked about this as being nothing that I consider a valid trend line. I just wanted to mark it out in case we got a reaction. But why is it not a valid trend line? We only have two data points. We have the reaction here and the reaction here. Two is not enough. You need at least three. So let's say we got the wick here. If I drop it down to the wick right there, that would still give me two reactions. And then you can see where we're at right here. So if we hold this 158 and we bounce, that would give me three reactions, and we're, that trend line, we can monitor that for the future. I think we're likely going to hold 158. Again, I'm seeing signs that gold is starting to build some support in this area. If we don't hold 158 and we break lower, then likely all the way down here, basically at 136 roughly. That's the next level I see as some support. There's a little bit of levels right in here. There might be this 146 area. Let's just watch this 158, see what happens. If we don't hold that, we're going lower in gold. If we do hold, then this is likely going to be a good area to be buying. And I have been buying. So let's look at the miners. That's what I buy. I don't buy the physical metal. I don't buy GLD for the most part. I like to buy the miners. When I think a trade is setting up and it's looking bullish for gold, I want to be leveraged to that position to gold through the miners. Miners are essentially a leveraged play on the price of gold. If I believe gold's going to go up because the chart's telling me, the miners should go up more. I don't just plow into one miner. I buy several. There's always company risk. You might have one single company that reports something bad, or they have an accident, or who knows. There's always some risk around every single company. So spread it around is what I prefer to do. But I look for the most bullish miners that I can find according to the charts, and those are the ones I buy. All right, let's just go through some of these. BTG broke this support right here at 487. So you can see if we have any reactions all the way back here. Nothing back here, but recently lots of reactions here where it held support, and then again it held support here for several weeks, and then we broke. All right, so that's a breakdown, and that is not that's not bullish in the short term for BTG. Next level of support. The next level is, it's not the cleanest level. We had a gap right here, and looks like there's another gap right in here. Little reaction right there. So we'll say about 351, 350, we'll call it. So yeah, we're kind of, this could go lower. Let's just put it that way. I don't see any signs as of yet that tell me it's going to go higher. I was buying this one. I have not sold or stopped out. Gold bullion still looks good. You can see here on the PPO, we still have bullish divergence right there on the PPO. And looking at the RSI, we still have bullish divergence on the RSI as well on the daily chart. So I still see bullish momentum. It's just not aggressive momentum. It's still bullish. It's just not aggressively bullish. So I think people are starting to step in and buy these things, but we're not saying, there could be some more consolidation. Let's put it that way. And maybe even slightly lower prices. Sand. All right, so I had this green circle here. I saw that as kind of the area to be buying sand. It looked bullish. Look at the momentum on sand on the daily chart. Bullish divergence. So bullish momentum, how it's moving up. PPO still looks good. Bullish divergence on the PPO. Price is still moving down. So in this scenario, I would just look to buy at support, which is you got some support right here at 590, a little bit of support just below at 578. Anything in that area looks like a good potential area. Obviously, tags of the trend line are the best area, but anything in this area I think looks good for a swing trade. And we look for this to break to the upside. I don't know why. Yeah, break to the upside. And you got this upward trend line up here. So, a break of that obviously would be, a full-on buy signal. Two ways to take it. You can buy at support, which is down in this green area, or you can buy on a break of resistance, which is up here. Here's a little one. I am gold. This one does not have bullish divergence in the RSI, and it does not have bullish divergence in the PPO. It is at some support, which is about 280. You can see we had several reactions there. There's a reaction as I zoom in. See how it gapped down, and that's basically the level that it kind of came down to. When it got back up to it, rejected right there, and then finally broke above. So that's a reaction, and I like that for the next support level of about 282. But no bullish divergence. So again, it's not the most bullish looking miner. There's some other ones that look better, but it's it's near support. This one, HMY. So I was buying this one. This one was one of the more bullish looking ones. I don't know why this one's so special, but let's look at the RSI. It did it's close enough where we can say it made an equal low. If it's just barely there, you can say it's an equal low. So we made an equal low in the RSI right there from previously. The PPO, bullish divergence right there, because the price had continued to kind of dip down and make lower lows. So lower price right here, this was a divergent low, signaling that we're likely going to reverse soon, and we're starting to see that reversal play out now. This thing was up 3%. So again, I had this green area marked as my buy zone, basically. And from the support, which is, I was buying it right, it tagged this trend line right here. As it kept tagging that, I was buying it. And as it was tagging it, so it tagged it twice, and that thing's up 14-15% since the entry. So again, that was the buy zone. I pointed that out. But in general, this is still looking good. It's probably going to run up and hit this trend line. We'll see if it can break. That's what you want. A definitive breakout to the upside most likely is going to signal that this miner at least is going to go on another run. Metalla, MTA. So I don't. This chart doesn't look as good to me. We have some trendline support right here. This is your COVID drop. A couple reactions. I could probably even adjust that up to there. Couple reactions along that. We've broken down though from that trend line. That's clear and obvious. We're right at the 200-day moving average, kind of battling it out down there. I don't see bullish divergence. Let me look. This one actually had negative divergence. With a lot of the miners had negative divergence recently, and that's why they've all sold off like 30-40%, and that's why I'm just now getting back into the miners. But let's look here. Yeah, I don't see any. We're at the 200 days, so that should be some support. Maybe we get a back test. I think there's better miners and better charts to look at. Here's one, Wheaton Precious Metals. This is a silver miner. You can see bullish divergence here on the RSI, bullish divergence on the PPO right there. If I can get my line out right there. And we're making we made a lower low in price right there. That's a divergent low because momentum's moving up while price is moving down. So divergent low. Now we are breaking what looks like support. Your support was right about here at 37.24. What I'd wait for on this one, this is a pretty standard trade setup. You break down, run a bunch of stops, run a bunch of people out of the position, and then you recover that support. I'd wait for the recovery. A break back above this 37.23. Look for it to get a daily close above that 37.23 area, 37.30. You want to give it a little bit of room, but a daily close above that, and when it's obvious that you're closing above that, I think that sets this little area up down here, this divergent low, as a bear trap, and we're going to run up and at least run up to this resistance here, up around 44, and possibly break out. Something to watch there. I like this chart. I wouldn't be buying it yet, but I'm watching it for that break higher above this level right there. Angle Gold, Ashanti. Some of these miners have some cool names. All right, divergent low right there. You see that? How we made a new lower low, and yet we made it on higher momentum in the RSI. Let me get rid of that line there. Made it on higher momentum in the RSI and higher momentum on the PPO. So bullish divergence. This one also has some support. Here's your pivot line right here. It's about 2307. It's been chopping around. We're clearly below that. If you wanted to wait on this one, it wouldn't hurt. The divergent low isn't a reason just to get long. You want to see a break above resistance to trigger your entry, or a tag of support is another objective area. So I would wait for probably a break above this 2360, some sort of breakout. And if we break out, we're likely going to run right up to the 200-day, probably get rejected there, run back down, back test the trend line, and then we go off to the races. So it'll look something like, breakout like that, and then likely get rejected, come down, hit the trend line and that support, probably back down around 2303. That would likely be an objective area to buy or add to a long position, and then off to the races. Something to look for. All right, Yamana. Okay, let's see. No bullish divergence in the PPO there. I just don't see it there. There is some bullish divergence showing up on the daily right there in the RSI. So kind of mixed momentum signals. Yamana has, what's this trend line? Looks like we've got some reactions along this downward sloping line. We got a reaction here, resistance there, and you know, we broke above, held support, and now we're back below. So again, probably if gold miners start to rally, then this is likely going to prove to be a bear trap. But as of right now, it's below resistance. I would wait for a break back above that 445, 450 area for that daily close to signal that as a bear trap. Newmont, bullish divergence in the RSI. Let's look at the PPO. No, I would say that was burned through on the PPO. So mixed signals, bullish RSI, no bullish divergence on the PPO. Newmont has some. The support was 56.70, and that was recently. That's basically where we closed at. You can see right there, we broke. Tagged it, it held as resistance, broke down, and closed it on Friday right there at resistance. Where does it go from here? Well, I'm not so sure. You know, it could break out. A lot of these look like they could be set up for bear traps, but you know, we gotta wait. We gotta wait to see what happens. If you start to break higher, then that was a bear trap. Goldfields GFI. Bullish divergence on the RSI. That's clean and clear bullish divergence, and also on the PPO. So this price action right there, oh, if I can get my tool, that was a divergent low, and that's the, you know, divergent lows tells you there's a likelihood of a trend reversal. So we're starting to see that trend reversal. I think we're likely going to run up and do a back test of this trend line up here all the way up around 1120. Now this trend line comes off of the 2018. You can see we have lots of reactions along this trend here. COVID drop, we just kind of X that out as a mulligan. Just that was forced liquidity. X that out for now. It's still held trend, and then recently it broke and has been kind of tagging it as resistance and started to drift away. So again, you know, this chart's not looking that good longer term. Shorter term, it looks like it could run up and do a test of this trend line, or maybe the 200 at 1040, 1050 or so. So we'll watch for signs of that and watch the other gold miners. I don't like this one because of the big broken support. I'd rather find something that still has some good support, even though in the short term this thing could go higher. So GDXJ, you can see here on the RSI, we still have bullish divergence where we're continuing to hold that, making equal lows or higher lows. The PPO, let me get the right tool. The PPO, that still has bullish divergence as well. So bullish divergence in both the PPO and the RSI on the daily chart, signaling that we just continue to kind of drift a little bit lower. This is all divergent low price action. Looking at the wicks, you can see the buyers are here. They are buying this thing, even though it is continuing to kind of drift a little bit lower. This thing closed Friday up, but look at the wicks, how it's dropping and then the buyers are buying it. It's dropping and the buyers are buying it. It's dropping and the buyers are buying it. These are kind of doji candles signaling that the buyers are down here buying miners. So I think there's a good probability this is near the low in GDXJ, which is a junior miner ETF. I think we run up next spot of resistance is up here at 5220. We'll have to get through that. A break above that, and we've got this downward trend line, which is not the cleanest trend line, to be honest. So I don't know how much I love it, but this is kind of the benefit of the doubt trend line right here. And a break above 55, and likely these are off to the races. Dollar, I'll throw in the dollar just because that's very relevant to the miners. The dollar close at 92 is the resistance level, so you can see right. It's about 92 right there. See that? Key support, 92. Key support, broke support, and we are testing that from below as resistance. So You know, if the dollar breaks above here, that watch out. You know, the dollar's likely going to go all the way up to 96, maybe 97, somewhere right in there. So if you get a break higher, that's going to really start to spook the markets. That likely a break higher would be due to a major sell-off in the market, and everybody's just running to cash as fast as they can, and so the dollar will catch a kind of a liquidity bid. I don't know. You know, I don't have I don't have the greatest confidence the dollar is going to break 92. There is bullish divergence, and I pointed it out for a while. You know, right there. See the bullish divergence? How that? So this is where I started to point it out. Right down here, I said, okay, divergent lows right in here. We're likely going to get a trend reversal, and we've seen it. You know, we started to see it. Here's your bounce, pullback, bouncing higher. Trend is up in the short term. Let's look at the DXY. So there you go. There, I have it circled. There's your bullish divergence, and we're starting to see, you know, that bounce. I had a head and shoulders potential, but again, like I said, head and shoulders often comes at the end of a long extended uptrend, or a inverse head and shoulders comes at the end of a long extended downtrend. This was a head and shoulders, not a long extended uptrend. So it never was really that valid. I just was looking at it. But we're bouncing to 92 here. So again, that's major resistance. We break that, you know, we're going to watch out for the dollar to rally. All right, a couple more and we'll wrap. Barrett Gold, one of my favorites. Why do I like Barrett Gold so much? Well, it's a large miner. It's one of the largest, so it's a less risky, I suppose, gold miner, given that it's just the nature of its size, but not indexed to the S&P 500 like Newmont Mining is. So Barrick, if there's outflows of the S&P 500, then they're not gonna there won't be selling of Barrick based on that. So I prefer that over Newmont, even though I think if gold's rising, they're both going to do well. All right, so Barrick, you know, we've got this trend line here, this kind of bearish bullish falling wedge, and it looks like we had a false breakdown and a bear trap right there. See how it broke, but then it snapped right back up and recovered. And look at all the tags of this trend line. Last 2 days, we tagged it perfectly, and it held. And Friday, it held and just continued to rise. I like it. Looks good. Looking at the RSI, just starting to get some bullish divergence again. So this was a divergent low. Whether that remains is yet to be seen. And then on the PPO, close enough where I'd say that this is still bullish divergence that's still intact. So the PPO never really got rid of its longer term bullish divergence. The RSI lost it because formerly I had it right here, and we made a new, let me zoom in, we made a new lower low. So burned through the bullish divergence on the longer, kind of the longer time frame, but we're starting to see it show up again just recently right in here. All right, so what I would look for is a break back above this 2026 area. That was key. That's kind of key support. A lot of these miners have dipped below some of their key support. So if they recover it, then it's a bear trap. If they hit it and get rejected, well, we're probably going lower in some of these miners. Royal Gold. This one I am long Royal Gold. It looks good. You know, I don't know why this one has behaved so well, but look, bullish divergence right there. See how we're just continuing to trend up in the RSI. Bullish divergence here in the PPO. See how we're continuing to trend up in the PPO. This one's kind of like that, but continuing to trend up. And this has continued to slightly trend down in price. So divergent lows. Every time it makes a new low, like below here, that's divergent lows. We have a trend line to watch right there coming off the most recent highs. A break above that, a definitive break. You know, this is like a drifting breakout. That's not what you want to see. You want to see an impulsive big green candle. All right, that's going to give you your breakout signal. Then I think Royal Gold's off to the races. Okay, Agnico Eagle. I had this green area as my buy zone. We're below that now. Doesn't mean I'm selling out of it. Just means I'm not buying any more of it right now. So we have another level of support all the way down here at 51.33. So we run down to there. That's the next level, and we're below the buy zone. However, let's look at the RSI. Bullish divergence still remains. That has not been taken out. So this low, at least according to the RSI, is a divergent low. Let's look at the PPO here. PPO, yeah, that one burned through, I would say. So we burned through the divergence on the PPO. Let me look just to confirm. Yeah, I would say the PPO is burned through. So mixed signals on the momentum, but still have some bullish divergence there in the RSI, and some of these other miners still are showing signs of relative strength. So, this could be a bear trap. This could be, we could run all the way down to this 51, it's about 51.33 area, tag that and then bounce, or we could just be bouncing right now and recover, and this could be a bear trap. Something to look for. Franco Nevada had this cleared down channel right here. We're below it right now, and we have no bullish divergence on the RSI and no bullish divergence on the PPO. So this one just looks bearish in general. Whether it bounces back to the top of the channel, I don't see signals that this trend, this major downtrend, is changing yet. At least on the longer term. Now we're starting to get some bullish divergence. If I get rid of that and you look at this, just short term, there is bullish divergence there on the RSI, which means that this is a divergent low right in here, according to this last low right in here. So we'll wait to see if that can firm up, because this could be the bottom, could be near the lows. The fact that we have this nice clean downward channel and we're below it, I think there's a very good likelihood we snap back into the channel, and probably to the top of the channel all the way up here, which is not the cleanest channel either. But maybe we snap back up and all the way back up to 121 or so. But I'd be looking for signs of a more sustainable breakout, which would probably be a break above this resistance line here. Nice, impulsive green candle breakout. Otherwise, if we don't see that, and maybe we snap up to the top of the channel and we just continue to downtrend. All right, that's all I got for the miners. Long video, but I wanted to cover a lot of things and get some stuff out there. Again, I'll be doing some more live streams. Hopefully I don't have the technical difficulties like I did this last time. Thank you. Catch you guys on the next one.